I just want to start off by paying tribute to Deputy McGrath, Finny McGrath, for the introduction of this private member's motion and congratulate him on the work that he's put into putting this on the order paper for the House. And I think it's sad in a modern society that we even have to discuss a motion such as this. A motion calling for the protection of the disabled, to stop to cuts in their income and their payments, and help to allow them to live independently and steer away from institutionalisation. Calling for to give them their rights as equal citizens in this land. And it seems that this is what we have come to. And have you really stooped so low as a government that you have to pinch the pockets of these vulnerable people and to pay for the mistakes of the better off? We saw in the recent past the cuts to personal assistance, which meant that disabled people had to sit out overnight outside this House in protest before you reversed that barbarous decision. And then the cut to respite care grant. And now, most recently, the slashing of the mobility allowance and the motorised transport grants. Disabled people are simply wondering what will be next. In recent days, I got a letter from a disabled person in my own constituency, a double transplant patient suffering from cystic fibrosis, who says that he's dreading to see the postman coming or turning on the radio to hear what will be cut next from them. The loss of the mobility allowance will mean that his ability to live independently will be severely curtailed. And following the decision of the government to slash these mobility payments to the 5,000 people in receipt of them, all of these people with disabilities who need the payments in order to leave their house will now lose up to €208 a month. This is an absolute disgrace, targeting the most vulnerable people in our society. It is highly unlikely, maybe even impossible, that within the next 3 months, when these payments are due to end, that the government will have devised and implemented a public transport strategy which will take into account the transport needs of everyone in the country, even those with disabilities. And even if the review is completed in the next few months, it will still be a long way off from seeing any change on the ground. The people that are being targeted in this instance are individuals who are unable to use public transport, and for those who need to adapt their vehicles for driving. What are these people supposed to do while the government are waiting for yet another of their infamous reviews? And for people in very remote areas such as Donegal, the consequences will be disastrous. I have had numerous constituents contacting me, worried sick that they'll lose their mobility allowances, and some who are about to apply but now cannot and are devastated by that. For them, they will be housebound because public transport for those who cannot use it, who can use it, is non-existent in Donegal, never mind for those who can't access it because it's not disabled friendly. And Minister Lynch's plan will not fix it and will not solve this problem. People with disabilities cannot be ignored and neglected. You cannot force people to stay in their homes. You must allow those people who are eligible to apply for the limited supports that are there. The department and the government have had years to resolve this mess, and this is your mess to fix, not disabled people's. You need to establish a scheme that is legitimate and allows for all those people who are eligible to apply for mobility or payments to do so. Retain the personal assistance service. Provide the supports that are necessary for disabled people, including educational, so that they are truly equal citizens, and adequately support those who are caring for them. Not only does providing the means for allowing disabled people to live independently give them a better quality of life and recognise their contribution in our society, it also saves money in the long term compared to the institutionalisation that will be necessary. People who live with disabilities have had to fight their whole lives. Their families have had to fight on their behalf. Supports were never easy to access. We have seen the struggles families have had to get domiciliary care allowances. Even mobility allowances and transport grants were not easily accessible for disabled people. And they have constantly had to fight. What we have to do is build a society where they are recognised, and that struggle is taken to be our struggle and not their struggle, where they have had to fight for every support they get. But you have failed to protect and provide for the disabled, and you continue to target them with savage cutbacks. And this is outrageous decision-making, particularly when it's coming from a Labour minister who's overseeing this process. I am therefore calling for all members to oppose the government amendment to this motion and recognise the rights of disabled people as equal citizens within our society.